Hey, I'm glad you're here. Welcome back. So, if you're in a situation where you're either just starting out or you're starting over and you see yourself as outside of the conventional 9 to 5 cubicle world and you're not quite sure where to begin, what risks are worth taking, and you just wish you had some guidelines, some advice just to understand the world a little better and to be able to take the steps that you know that you're going to need to take in order to get into something that really is sustainable. These are 10 things that I wish I knew when I was in my 20s. The first thing is to get serious about your faith. I wish someone had told me that. I think I always knew that that was the right thing, but I wasn't pursuing it like I should have. And it took until I met my wife that we figured that out together, and we grew a lot in our faith as a couple, eventually obviously getting married and having a family. But years before that, there are things that happened in my life that I know were guidance from the Holy Spirit. I know that they were spiritual inspiration. I wasn't recognizing that at the time. And if I had a clear understanding of a relationship with that spiritual inspiration, with the Holy Spirit, I would have been a lot more aware of those events when they happened. And I think God knows us. He knows what He made us for, and He does guide us, whether we realize it or not. And when we do realize it, it's a lot more efficient to understand, oh, I see, this is one of those things. This is one of those things where I'm meeting somebody, or I'm invited to join a meeting or join an organization, or I'm feeling bad about something. Any of those are those little bits, those little pokes and prods that we get spiritually to remind us, to help us to know, take this chance, or don't go, or meet this person, or here's a random happenstance interaction in a grocery store, or wherever it might be. Those are those things that happen. And if we're aware of those things, it's a lot more efficient, and we can take the advice a lot better, and we can take action as a result of those things. So the singular point there is get serious about the faith, develop that relationship, and be aware that spiritual inspiration is real and that it happens. Now, the second thing is not to force yourself into a major or a field or a relationship. So this would apply if you're just starting college or in college, or even if you're not, even if you've already gone and you're well into a career and you're switching or something, not to force yourself just because of monetary gain, or somebody told you you have to do that, or out of allegiance to some prior situation or something like that. The thing that you're going to be best at is where there's a confluence between people talk about passion, but it's really more about where your talents and gifts, the things that have been imparted to you, coincide with skills that you've developed that build up upon those talents and gifts, and opportunity. So if you're in a situation where you have an opportunity to leverage talents that you've built up through skill and effort and practice, and you can survive and get by financially, that might be the right thing. But if it would require defying those things and defying sort of how you were made and where you've kind of been angled all your life, and all the guidance that you've received all of your life from your conscience, from spiritual guidance, from the Holy Spirit, and you're only going into something because it's the way to pay the student loans, or it's the way to make the biggest salary, or it pleases somebody, but you know that it's not the right thing. You have to think long and hard about that. Obviously, you have to honor your parents, you have to honor your family, and student loans are a real thing. So there are extenuating circumstances where it's important for us. Sometimes we do have to do the thing that we don't want. Sometimes we do have to pursue the economic angle, even though we'd rather not. That's a true thing. That's a reality. But in general, all things being equal, it's important for you to think about where is that inflection point, and where is that confluence between where your gifts and talents have been written on your soul and your skills have been developed feeding into those talents and those gifts. Where do those things match up with real opportunity that you have in your life? And wherever that is where you belong. And it might not be right now if you have no other option than to go into something that makes the most money so that you can get out of student loan debt. I know that that's a real problem for young people today. So if you're in that situation, I understand that. But this might be planning for the future. Just know that you're not stuck in that. And the day will come when you will climb out of that economic situation and you can choose based upon what you know is right and where your talents and where your gifts lie, where your contribution is meant to be made. That day will come. I promise you that day will come. So just keep your head down, be in that situation, and know that you're not trapped. If you're in a situation where you can choose anything, then be sure that you're aware that your gifts and talents are a strong hint that that's where you belong, and that's the contribution that you're meant to make in the world. Just know that. The third thing is continue education. When I earned a bachelor's degree and I was entering into a career, it was a long time ago. It was an era when everybody in the computer industry just thought the money will come, jobs and stock options and all of that is just going to be so overwhelmingly lucrative that we're never going to need to worry about anything. And in reality, that would have been a great time to get a PhD, because one thing that I would like to be able to do right now is to be a college professor. I am not able to do that because I do not have a PhD. And before I had kids, and when I was able to take the financial risk, I wish I had done it then, because if I had, then I would be able to do that now. So that may or may not be your situation where you wish for graduate school or you wish for advanced degrees. But if you think that that's something that would be exciting or would be interesting for you in the future, just do it now. Do it now, because you can afford the time, you can afford to take the risk, and you can just bang it out. And next thing you know, it will be done. You can move on with your life and you will have accomplished that thing. And you have that many more opportunities for the future. It will be worth it. Just do it now. It'll be much more difficult or maybe impossible to do it later. The fourth thing I wish somebody had told me when I was in my 20s is dollar cost averaging. All that means is just start investing. Pick a dollar amount, pick some investment, just something. I'm not going to give you financial advice. I'm not going to tell you what to invest in, but just pick a dollar amount and invest that amount every month. And it might only be $100. It might only be $50. But even if it's that, keep it the same amount of money, invest that amount every month, and you will be grateful to your past self that you had done that. Do it now. If you're 19, start now. If you're 16, if you're 14, and you're washing dishes at the restaurant, start saving that amount. Pick an amount, pick a fund, start investing now. The same amount every month, it will compound, and you will be happy. I promise you that. The fifth thing is go to all the places. So if you're invited to a conference in Sweden, go. If you're invited to speak in New York at a trade show, do it. If you have a job and that job involves going to the satellite office in San Francisco or Texas or Tokyo or Ireland or wherever, go and do it. Do it now. It's a lot more difficult to do that when you have little kids or teenagers or kids of any age and a settled down, responsible situation with real estate and all of the things that come along with adulthood. Now is the time that you can do that. You don't really have to think about it that much. Get a passport and just go, and you will think back on your past and you will think, wow, I went to all the places. That was really great. Those are the stories you'll tell your kids. Those are the photographs you look back on. Those are the films that you'll make that you'll look back on with fondness, and you'll remember those memories of seeing those places and having those experiences, and you'll be happy. I promise. All right, the sixth thing is start a daily exercise routine. And I'm laughing a little bit because the time that I started, I started 3 years ago. So if I had started when I was 20, you'd be looking at a very different person. But because I didn't, because I started 3 years ago, this is what it is. And that's fine. It's okay. But anytime, no matter what age you are, if you're viewing this and you're 55 years old, start a daily exercise routine now. But if you're 19, 20, 25, 28, you should start immediately and just be disciplined about it. Even if you come up with some kind of routine that takes you 10, 15 minutes, just do it in the morning. You have plenty of time, and just crank it out and you will be grateful. What I do is I keep track of everything that I do, which is ridiculous, but it's what engineers do. I have a spreadsheet. I keep track of every rep. I write it in, and then I can look and I can see in a given year how many reps of a given exercise I did. And the only reason to do that, that number doesn't really mean anything, right? But it does mean you accomplished that, and you can look and see, wow, I really kept up, and you can scroll through that thing and you know that you did it. So whether you use an app to keep track or a notebook or a spreadsheet like I do, whatever it is, if you keep track, it will help keep you on task, and it will keep you engaged in following up every day, because you look at that thing and you say, oh yeah, I need to fill in my thing for the day. If you do it in the morning, that's the best, because kind of before you've started anything else, you've already done it. You can think back. That was one thing that you accomplished, and it didn't take very much effort, and you can chalk that up, and it will make you more productive. It will make you feel better about yourself, and it will reduce the likelihood that you'll fall into some kind of depression event, because you know that there was a win and it didn't take a whole lot of effort. And not only is the win the few minutes that it took, or 15 minutes, or even 5 minutes, the win is that you chose to start that thing for your health and you stuck to it. And that's not just for yourself, that's in allegiance to God for making you, that you say, God, thank you for this body. I'm going to take care of it. I know that you created me for a reason, and I want to take good care of this. It's also something for your future spouse to say, I want to be healthy. I want to be around. And if I'm so blessed to have children someday, I want to be around for them. And that's what that exercise says. It says so much, and it's so worth it. Very little effort, and you will be grateful that you did. Maybe you already do it, and if you do, that's great. Congratulations. That's awesome. All right, so the next thing is take advantage of the resiliency of youth. What I mean by that is you can get by on crazy diet, a small amount of money, a crazy living situation, a cot in the corner in the bedroom of your friend's house or whatever. You have a situation, you can live in a van, you can do all those different things right now, and it might be difficult or impossible later on in your life. You can do it now. So if you want to start a business, if you want to do something, if you want to change your career, if you're 24 and you decide that the thing that you're in is not working and you don't have a huge amount of debt and you really feel called to doing something different, you can do it now. And you can take the risk of not having any money for a year or 2 years or however long it takes to get into that. Just try it. If you find out that it didn't work, you haven't invested a lot because you have that resiliency. You can bounce back. And you can even look at that. When I get into something and then I decide, well, it didn't really work out, I look at it as, well, that's kind of like paying my tuition. And even if it was just investing time, if I decide to enter into a building project or learning something or trying to branch out into something that I don't feel so comfortable in, and then it doesn't work out, maybe I put in a month or 6 months or a couple Saturdays or whatever I put in, that's like paying tuition. The time that it took for me to get into that thing that ended up not working out, I learned a lot. And so that's valuable. So if you decide to get into something, maybe you start a business and it doesn't work out, that's okay, because you can look back and know that you did that, know that you tried it. You're never going to have regrets thinking, why didn't I at least try? Or you might fail and then learn what you need to know so that when you try it again the next time, it works out. So it is worth it. You have that resiliency. You can bounce back. Now is the time to do it. And so if you envision a life outside the conventional, make those moves now. Now is the time. You can afford it. All right, so the eighth thing is put extreme time and effort into developing skill around your gifts and talents. So you know what those are. If you're in your 20s, you already know what those things are. Even if you're 16 or younger, you probably do. You know that you are called to be an artist or a musician or a dancer or a singer or whatever it might be, an inventor, whatever that thing is. You have the talent and the gift. That's like the spark, but you have to feed that. You have to feed that spark. And so if you're talented as a musician, but you don't have the technical skill to back it up, that is the thing to invest in. Put in the time. And people talk about 10,000 hours. Just put in something. Pick time. I mean, with a musical instrument, it's good to think about at least 20 minutes a day. So if at least 20 minutes a day, you're fostering that gift or talent, whatever it is, whether it's playing an instrument or painting or writing, whatever, just put in that time. And then when you do, eventually that gift or that talent, whatever it is going to develop into mastery. And once it develops into mastery, it may change your life. It might introduce some kind of opportunity that you couldn't possibly have imagined, but you won't get there unless you develop it. So talents and gifts, they have to be fostered. They have to be nurtured. And the way to do that is by putting in the time to develop the skill to back them up. That is the thing that just takes time and effort. Now is the time to do it because you have the time. It's much more difficult once you have an established life, real estate, kids, and all those things. And you will be grateful that you did that. So the ninth thing, we're getting to the end of the list. The ninth thing is develop and foster deep friendships. As human beings, what we need is people that surround us, that love us, people that surround us that know where we're great, where we fall short, maybe. People around us that can support us and that we can support in return. Think in terms of your surrounding community. It's the people that 20 years in the future you're going to call up to start a business with. It's the people that you can check in with, and when you know that they're feeling low, you can help them. And that also helps you because it feeds your spirit. And you know that you have graced somebody, that you have blessed somebody. And that also feeds your spirit and keeps you going. So develop those deep relationships, invest in them. And so if you have an opportunity to go deeper with somebody, whatever that might be, by traveling on an amazing road trip with them, or going and, you have a choice between a few different jobs, and at one, you'll have this group of people that you'll get to work with every day. Invest in those relationships now, whether it be in school or at your job or your roommates or whatever it is. That is time well spent. So if you have a choice between social media and looking at a phone and hanging out, going to the pub, or having a book club, or going and praying with a group of people, or doing a Bible study, or whatever the thing is, and it's real people in an authentic situation, having conversations and getting to know each other, do the latter. There will be plenty of time for all of the other extracurriculars. Right now is the time to build those relationships. And I think building relationships can be combined with the other item, which was number 8, putting extreme time and effort into developing creative skill, because maybe you start a band, or maybe you go and take classes together with somebody to learn timber framing or something. Who knows what it is? Whatever it is for you, develop and foster those deep relationships with people, because that will be your community. If you want to think of it as a network, that's going to be your network. It's going to be the most valuable network that you've ever developed. It's the one that you're developing right now. So it's like you're holding this lever, and that lever is radically altering the direction of your life. You're holding that lever right now, and it's easy to move around. The older you get, the more established you get into things, the harder it is to do that. And right now, leveraging that community of people, that circle of friends, people that you love and people who love you, will be worth it in the future beyond anything you could imagine. All right, so this is the last thing I have. Don't buy a nice car or a house. And I'm actually going to say, just kidding, because I did both of those things and it was great. If you can learn how to handle the financial side of those things, it's worth it. So that is, if you're responsible enough to save up the money to make a car payment and a mortgage payment, and you can properly maintain a vehicle and all of those things, that's the prerequisite for this one, right? But I'm going the opposite direction of my advice by saying, if you feel that that's something that would help you to understand yourself as an established person, that's something it's okay to do that. It's okay to do something that might not be considered totally financially responsible. Because if you're already following the dollar cost averaging investing advice and you're saving and you're managing your budget, it's actually going to help you more by having a little bit of a hardship. The way that you can get around the radical cost of automobiles and real estate is just by being smart. So get in a situation where you can learn about, I can talk about this in the future, but maybe it's going to take some creativity to find a way to have real estate so it's sustainable for you, that you can afford it. Find a way that you can have the vehicle that you want to have in a way that actually is sustainable for you. You might need to be creative. We can talk about that, but it's worth it because you look at a vehicle that you own and you look at a home that you own, and that helps you feel like a real, valid, authentic person. It has that feeling of autonomy. It has that feeling of legitimacy. And when you have that, that's something that you can leverage. That's something that really gives you a sense of confidence about yourself that motivates in a similar way that having kids motivates, because you look at the beautiful child and you know that this tiny person is expecting me to make it so they can survive, and not just survive, but also eat, and not just eat, but also have a beautiful and wonderful life. When you look at the car that you think is cool, and when you look at the home that you've worked so hard to acquire and save up for and make a down payment on, that is a motivator. And when you develop the skills to foster that motivation, to become a responsible person, to be able to afford those things, you can leverage all of that confidence in the future. And that's going to come in handy when you get married and when you start having kids and when you get into a different situation economically, or you need to switch careers, or all of that. You can look back and say, I know that I can do it. The way that I know I can do it is because when I was 23 or 24 or 25, I took the big risk and I became a real grown-up adult, and I acquired a home, and I was able to maintain that home. I was able to figure out the heating bill and the water bill and roll the garbage down the driveway and all those things. I was able to figure that out, and that will give you confidence in the future. I know this sounds silly. I know that it sounds ridiculous, but it's really true. It really will help you. So it's worth it. If you don't think so much about that and you want to live in a van, then that's also great, because that's similarly something that will give you confidence. If you want to live in an RV on BLM land, or you want to do something completely different, that will give you a different sense of confidence, because it's a different kind of autonomy that resonates with who you are. So whatever that is for you, even if it feels economically risky, look at it deeply, and it might be worth doing anyway. So just think about that. All right. So this has been 10 things that I wish someone had told me in my 20s. And all of these things, they would have made a big difference in my life. I managed to figure things out anyway, but but things would have made a lot more sense if I had done these things. So thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate it. I will see you on the next one. God bless.